For days you had stopped trying to escape. Somewhere deep inside she had realized there was no way out, no with guards at every corner, not with Jungkook shadows following her everywhere. So instead of fighting she tried something new, acceptance. Talked casually, shared some small stories, and when one of the younger mates said something silly, you really locked. Her eyes sparkled, her cheeks glowed, and for a brief moment the prison didn't feel like a cage anymore. It was this exact moment Jungkook returned home. The door of the mansion opened with his usual commanding presence, guards stepping aside, but instead of silence he was greeted with the sound of laughter and chewing through the hall. His brow furrowed as he followed the sound, each step heavy and curiosity, and something sharp groaning at his chest. Then he saw her Yush sitting in the middle of the mats, her soft pink dress brushing the floor, her laughter brighter than this chandelier above them. She was not crying, she was not trembling, she was glowing. Jungkook froze. For a man who had faced death without flinching, his heart dropped. He had never seen her smile like this, and the realization struck him like a bullet. She looked more alive with them than she never did with him. The smile faded the second her gaze catch his. The mates noticed to the charter that instantly, their face paling as the weight of Jungkook's stare filled the hall. One by one they lowered their head and stared away, leaving you alone in the middle of the room. Silence. Yu's fingers twisted nervously in her lap, her heart racing as he walked closer, his every step slow and deliberate, his sharp eyes never leaving her face. He stood just in front of her, tall and overwhelming, the faint scent of smoke and leather surrounding him. "You are logging," he said finally, his voice low but engaged with something dangerous. "You shallow heart, I just talking with them." His gaze flickered to the corner where the mate had disappeared, then back to her, his jaw tightened. "You don't look like that with me." The words were quite almost vulnerable, but the tension beneath them was undeniable. You lowered her head, her lips trembling. She didn't know what to say. She hadn't meant to upset him. She was not realized her laugh could cut him so deeply. Jungkook leaned closer, his voice brushing her hair. "Don't give them what belongs to me. That smile, those eyes, they are mine." Her breath hitched, her body trembling under the intensity of his words. For a long moment neither spoke. The silence pressed heavy between them, broken only by the rapid beating of her heart, and yet behind his possessiveness there was something raw in his gaze, a flicker of fear that her acceptance of this what might not include him. The afternoon sun cast a golden glow across the mansion gardens. You sat quietly on the marble bench, her gaze lost in the roses blooming around her, but her lips were pressed tightly, her eyes dull, like even the beauty around her couldn't touch her heart. From the balcony above, Jungkook watched. He noticed the way she picked at the petals absent-mindedly, the sadness shadowing her face. For a man who had always been surrounded by noise, power and blood, her silence was unbearable. He descended the stairs, each step deliberate, until he stood before her. His shadow scratched across her lap, forcing her to look up. Her breath catch. He looked like always handsome yet terrifying, his aura dark as ever, but his eyes never right now were not cold, they were searching. "Get up," he said simply. "You followed why I am talking you somewhere." Confusion flickered in her gaze. Somewhere a smirk ghosted his lips. "Yes, unless you prefer sitting here sulking all day." Her eyes widened at his bluntness, but something in his tone was not cruel. It was almost teasing against her better judgment. She nodded. Back in her room, Yu stood in front of the mirror, brushing her hair nervously, her hand stuck silently as she tied the ribbon of her soft dress. She didn't know why, but a strange anticipation fluttered in her chest. When she came downstairs, Jungkook was already waiting near the sleek black car, cigarette between his fingers. His gaze swept over her once, sharp and lingered before he tossed the smoke aside and opened the gate for her. The ride was silent but not uncomfortable. Jungkook's eyes flickered towards her more than once, catching the way she stared curiosity outside the window. Finally, after near an hour, the car stopped. You stepped out and froze. They were surrounded by towering trees, sunlight flickering through leaves like falling gold. The air was fresh, crisp, filled with the chirping of birds instead of the suffocating silence of the mansion. Her lips parted in awe. Its beautiful Jungkook gaze never left her, not as much as you. She turned quickly. Heat rushed to her cheeks, but his smirk only deepened at her reaction. For the first time since her forced marriage, you smelled a real, unguarded smell. She twirling slightly, letting the breeze play with her hair. Her laughter soft and sweet. Jungkook stood still, watching her, his heart clenched in a way he couldn't explain. This girl was not the trembling girl who cried in his arms every night. This was the girl she might have been, if not for him, free, alive, glowing. The forest was alive with cold sunlight spilled between the branches, dappling the ground in farm patches. Butterflies flickering in the air, their delicate wings glowing like painted glass as they danced from flower to flower. You had never seen such a place. Her lips parted as she tilted her face to the sky, her eyes wide and sparkling with childlike wonder. The mansion had been suffocating, cold walls, heavy silence, and Jungkook's terrifying shadow always follow her, but here was freedom, here was air. She ran towards her soft dress glowing behind her as she stretched out her arms, catching the butterflies. They shattered in every direction, glowing like stars in the all day. Her laughter enjoyed through the clearing, light, sweet, unguarded, and for the first time Jungkook saw her truly alive. He leaned casually against the car, but his eyes never left her. His men were stationed around the forest edge, keeping watch, but Jungkook, confused, was locked only on the girl trailing among the wildflowers, the notorious Mafia King, the man feared by every rival, the man whose hands were drenched in blood, felt something he didn't recognize. His chest tightened, his lips curved without his command. His usual cold heart felt warm. "So this is what you look like when you are not afraid of me," he thought, his gaze drinking her in. "This is the smile I have been waiting to see." Minutes passed, then hours. He didn't notice the time. Watching her made the entire world blur. You pulsed, turning back to him, her cheeks flushed for running for a heartbeat, their eyes locked. Jungkook felt something dangerous rise inside him, something that was not just obsession, something deeper. But peace never lasted in this world. Crack, the sound of a gunshot shattered the air. You frozen, her smile vanishing instantly. The butterfly shattered in terror, washing into the trees. Jungkook's eyes snapped dark. His gun was in his hand. In a second, his body moving instability. Another shoot, then another. His man shouted, taking cover. Bullets tearing through the trees as shadows move in the distance. Rival Mafia Yu had reached her, body trembling before she could think. Her legs carried her towards Jungkook. He catch her immediately, one arm pulling her against his chest, shielding her with his broad frame as bullets light the air around them. His other hand aimed his gun, firing back with precision. Her tears split as she clutched to him. What happened? He kneeled down, his face rough but steady. Stay behind me. She shook her head violently, clutching his sleeve. No, don't leave me, please. For the first time, his expression softened. Even in the storm of chaos. He brushed his thumb across her damp cheek. I will come back to you always. He pressed her back against the trunk of a thick tree, his hand gripping her shoulder. Don't move, don't make a sound. Her lips trembling, but before she could protest again, he pressed a flickering kiss to her forehead, soft, almost desperate, then pulled away, his body shifting back into the ruthless predator the world knew. The clearing exploded in violent. Jungkook moved like a shadow, firing with deadly accuracy. Each rival who dared to approach collapsing into the dirt. His men fought in perfect formation, shouting, others returning fire, blood soaking the ground. You pressed herself against the tree trunk, her nails sticking into the bark, her breath dragged with fear. Every sound of gunfire made her flinch, every scream tore at her chest, but her eyes never left Jungkook. The way he moved, merciless, commanding, unstoppable, terrified her, and yet every time his gaze flickered back towards her. Even in the middle of the chaos, her heart stuttered. He was fighting for her. Then it happened. Bang! A sharp cry escaped his throat as a bullet tore into his thigh. Blood spilled, but Jungkook didn't falter. He gritted his teeth, firing back, refusing to collapse. You screamed, split in the air. Jungkook, before she could even move, bang! Another bullet ripped into the same leg, higher, deeper. His body blocked his time, and his knee slamming into the dirt. His leg nearly slipping from his grip. Blood poured down, soaking the earth beneath him. You broke. She didn't care about the others, didn't care about the bullets flying around them. She ran from behind the tree, falling to her knees beside him. Her trembling hands pressed desperately against his bleeding leg, her tears mixing with his blood. No, no, you don't do this. She sobbed, her dress already drenched in red. His hand rose shakingly, brushing her hair back, cupping her face, even as pain twisted his features. Better than you. Her heart shattered. Why do you always put yourself in front of me like this? You will die. His voice cracked, raw and annoying, but steady. Because I'd rather take 1,000 bullets than let even one touch you. Her sob tore through her chest as she pressed harder against the wound. You are insane, you are bleeding, going to bleed out. But his eyes, dark, broken and burning, stayed locked on hers. I was obsessed with you, he whispered, his voice trembling. Obsessed with making you mine, but somewhere it changed. She froze, her tears blurring her vision. His lips curved into the faintest faint smile. Obsession became love. I love you, you not as something I own, not as a prisoner. I love you because you are the only light I ever seen in this darkness. Your body shocked violently. She pressed her forehead to his, her tears falling into his face. Why are you saying this now? Why when you are bleeding out? Because if this is my last breath, he whispered, his voice breaking. I want you to know the only truth that matters. Her sob broke free. I hate you for running my life. I hate you for trapping me. But her voice cracked, trembling. But I can't hate you anymore because I love you too, Jungkook. His voice widened, his breath catch. Say it again. I love you, she whispered frankly, her lips brushing his. I love you, even if it kills me. And then for the first time, she him on forehead. It was not gentle, it was desperate, messing filled with every tear, every scar, every hidden feeling they had buried for so long. His arm desperate, the pain locked around her, pulling her against him, as if letting go means that the world faded. The screams, the bullet, the blood, there was only her, only him, only the terrifying, burning truth that bound them together. Hours later, the rivals lay defeated. Jungkook's men cleared the body, silence finally settling over the forest. You sat with him against a tree, her dress run, her hands still pressed against his wound, refusing to let go. He was pale, his breath heavy, but his eyes never left her, and for the first time she didn't look away. She awoke. She whispered desperately, her forehead pressed to his. Don't you dare close your eyes. A weak smile tugging at his lips. You are bossy for someone who was supposed to be afraid of me. Her tears fell harder, but she smiled through them. Maybe I stopped being afraid. He exhaled, leaning into her. Good, because I am never letting you go. Back at the mansion days later, Jungkook lay in his room, his leg bandaged. Doctor had treated him, but he refused to rest until he saw her. You sat at his beside, carefully changing his bandage, her hand gentle but firm. He strained pain, but she planned. Don't be a baby, you are nearly die. He giggled softly, his eyes drinking her in. Worth it? She looked up sharply. Worth it what? His hand catch hers, pulling it to his lips. He kissed her palm, his voice low, honest. If bleeding means you are finally love me, then yes, worth it. Her heart twisted, tears filled her eyes, but this time they were not from fear, they were from something else, something warm, something real. She leaned down, pressing her lips to his softly. I already told you I love you, Jungkook, even if you drive me insane. He smiled, pulling her closer, his arm circling her waist desperately. His injury, then you are mine forever. You smiled faintly, resting her head against his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. And for the first time, she didn't feel like a prisoner. She felt like she belonged together in blood, in darkness, in love. They had finally found their ending, not perfect, not pure, but theirs.